Today is all about cumin in perfumery. And just as a reference, before I start talking about some perfumes that utilize this note, I thought that I would bring in my jar of ground cumin. And I can tell you that smelling this, which is what I would obviously use in cooking as opposed to perfumery, definitely is identifiable with some of the things that I'm going to be smelling in the perfumes. But when I'm smelling real, actual ground cumin up close, there is definitely a much bigger, more prominent savory aspect to what you might smell in perfumery. And I guess that comes down to the fact that cumin, when it's used in perfumery, is a distillation of cumin seeds or the raw product into an essential oil, which is then used in perfumery. I'm obviously not a perfumer myself, but I imagine that process can remove aspects from the scent that you're getting directly from smelling actual ground cumin. But you can get the idea. If you've got cumin at home, go and have a smell. And then if you've got the opportunity to smell some of the perfumes I'm going to talk about today, you'll see how effectively it's used and how it tends to work really well with particular ingredients. I'm not going to do this in any particular order. I have a group of my own perfumes here that I really love and feature the note of cumin quite prominently. I'll also mention some others that I asked some of the followers on Instagram about some of their favorite perfumes that utilize cumin as well. I've tried some of those, and I'll give some honorable mentions. But let me start off by just showing you a few of my favorites here. The first one is probably it's been around since the early 50s. Dead Mees by Hermes, originally composed by Edmund Rudnitska. This one here combines cumin with there's fresh citrus at the top of this, and this is the thing. When it's combined with particular notes, it tones down the full-on in-your-face aspect of actual cumin. Here, it's blended beautifully with other woods, and in particular, a note I find that really complements cumin quite well, and that's birch tar. I find that in things like Dead Mees in particular, and also Jean-Claude Lenne's Déclaration for Cartier, which I think is definitely inspired by Dead Mees. The cumin there works really well with the warmth and kind of smokiness, the dryness of that birch tar as well. Because cumin, in case you weren't aware, probably is sometimes classed with animalic perfumery notes. I'm going to talk about notes more than actual ingredients, but when we talk about things like musk and civet and castoreum, they are all associated with, slightly dirty, fecal, urinous kind of smells, all smells that we don't want to smell of, but all things that add to a perfume's composition in certain quantities. Cumin, of all those notes, is probably the closest to assimilating an actual human scent rather than an animal's scent, or a scent that doesn't remind you of excretion. Cumin is very closely related to the scent of To me, it is the scent of sweat on skin, and most usually dry sweat, sweat that's been on skin for a while. It's definitely the scent of warm skin, skin that has been heated through friction and exertion. And to be quite frank, it's probably the a very close quarters smelling skin in the most intimate kind of way possible. And cumin definitely provides some approximation of that. But as you'll see when I show you some of these perfumes, it is also very versatile. So in Dead Mees, it's it sort of gives depth to the citrus. It provides a little bit of the warmth to the woods, and also a little bit of, I guess, worn in character to the leather accord that sits underneath this perfume. And the next one that I want to talk about is one that was mentioned quite a bit by the people I asked on Instagram, Rochas F. Now, admittedly, there are different versions of this perfume that apparently amp the cumin up a little bit more. Now, I have this particular modern day version with the gold cap, but there is another version out there with a black cap, which I'll show up on screen, that actually lists cumin as a note, whereas on some websites, if you look this one up, cumin's not even listed. So, but it is definitely present even in this one when I smell it, although not as upfront as some of these other perfumes. But again, it where we have a floral sheep like Rochas Femme, and fruit and the fruitiness, whatever is in there as a cumin note, in whatever quantity, is giving everything just a little bit of edginess to the whole composition, and not making it so sweet and innocent. The next perfume I want to talk about, one of my recent favorites, is from Anatole, Lebreton. This is Grimoire. This, again, is the opening uses citruses, just like Dead Mees, Declaration, but this one uses the cumin, I find, as a perfect bridge between that lovely bright opening into this sort of resinous base that utilizes incense. It's like the cumin acts as a perfect conduit for the evolution of the citrus into the incense. It's quite a, I guess, an olfactory trick, really. That's what I really like about this perfume, is that you know it's there. There's something a little bit subversive about this perfume, but you almost don't realize that you're being tricked by what it's doing. Another one that was mentioned is from Serge Lutens, and I want to point out that Serge Lutens actually has a few perfumes that utilize cumin very well. One is El Aterine, and another one is Arabi. But the one that I have access to is actually Flur d'Oranger. This is predominantly a orange blossom tuberose perfume, but it is very dirtied up, made a little bit edgy by cumin note. I will admit, though, I think that older versions probably had a bit more cumin in than this particular version, black label version, has, because when I smell this now, it is dominated by those white florals more so than any spice, but it does have a little bit of an edginess to it, which I really, really enjoy. But to me, my very favorite perfume that utilizes cumin, also a very kind of dirty honey note on a beautiful base of benzoin, other warm spices, is Absolute pour le soir. I can't even see where the label is. Now discontinued by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. This is the ultimate smelling crotch to me. And it is just a wonderful perfume, wonderful utilization of cumin in this particular composition. You know, we've got stuff that is both citrusy and woody and incensey, and here is an amber that really is just sort of made a little bit X-rated by the cumin and that honey, and I absolutely love it for that very reason. Other honourable mentions that I want to talk about, another Jean-Claude Helena composition for the Hermescence line. It's Épice Marine. Here we've got cumin with not dissimilar to Declaration, but there are marine notes that are incorporated into that particular composition. There is also Andy Towers' L'air du désert marocain. That is a combination of spices. I don't want to say the cumin dominates there, but it's definitely there complementing other spices like coriander, and there's birch tar in there as well. And again, on an ambery base, it's a very, very dry composition for an amber perfume. And so I know that the way that cumin can be described as, you know, day-old sweat on skin can be a little bit off-putting, but I definitely encourage anyone that's a novice, particularly to cumin as a perfume note, to definitely explore, because it can work in so many different ways. You know, I can understand why someone might love one of these perfumes but not other ones. I just think it's really versatile. It's a great way to give off an effect of humanness more so than animalic aspect to a perfume. For me, it lends a lot of intimacy to a perfume, and it can make a perfume a little bit more personal because it is like such a visceral smell at times. Like it can be confronting in a way, I guess, but if it's done right with the right combination of ingredients, some of my very favorite perfumes are in this video as I speak, and they all happen to have cumin incorporated into their composition. So I obviously have missed a ton of other perfumes that incorporate cumin into the formulas. So please, let's talk about them in the comments, mention them, and if you want me to try and any others out that I have not talked about, let me know and I'll see if I can do a review of them. That's my quick video on cumin in perfume and some of my favorites, and I hope you enjoyed it. Oh, one honourable mention that I should mention, probably right up there with Absolute pour le soir for just pure carnality, and that is Papillon Parfums Salome or Salome. That is just wonderful. That got mentioned a lot. That is cumin with the most indolic jasmine. It's just such a lush, dirty perfume. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, and let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.